So we've got our oil thermostat and we're going to test the operation of the oil thermostat. The way this works is oil flows in through the bottom, and when the thermostat is cold, this portion here is closed off and this portion is open. This allows oil to flow in through here and out into the engine to supply the main bearings. As the engine heats up, the thermostat is going to close off this valve and open up this valve, which is going to allow oil to flow through the oil cooler. So if I take a look down inside onto the wax pellet, you will see the temperature rating of the wax pellet. This particular one is 83 degrees C. So to test this, I'm going to use my hot air gun to heat up the thermostat assembly, and I have my Raytech non-contact temperature gun so I can monitor the temperature of the thermostat. So first, if I take a reading right now, it should be ambient, so whatever the temperature is in the shop, which is 20 degrees C. So I'm going to go ahead and heat it up, and we're going to watch at what temperature the thermostat starts to move. So I can already see that the thermostat has started to move. Right now we're at about 61 degrees, and I've just been heating the entire housing, and we can see that we're starting to open up here already. We want to shoot our temperature gun down inside right on that wax pellet, because that's the part that's more important as to what's actually getting that heat. And I can see as the heat is kind of impregnating into that thermostat that we're about halfway open right now. So I'm just going to keep heating that. So our thermostat is now completely open. And I'm seeing the highest temperature reading I'm seeing is 90 degrees. I'd say it started moving towards the opening by 70 degrees C. And I would say that this thermostat is ready to be reinstalled. Now it's starting to close again. And if I shoot on the hottest part of the heat sink, I'm getting 60 degrees C. So the thermostat is functioning correctly and it's cycling back towards the closed stage. This is going to be a plus or minus 10% on that wax pellet temperature rating. So I would allow at least 8 degrees either side of its advertised temperature for opening and closing. So we're ready to go ahead and install our oil thermostat. We have our tested thermostat. I'm going to go ahead and install the sealing O-ring, and we're just going to make sure that that is nice and relaxed onto the thermostat. Next, I'm going to take some silicone lubricant just to lubricate the O-ring. Does not need a large amount. This is just to help the O-ring slide into the case, as it is going to be a fairly firm fit. Do not use any sealants on this area either, otherwise the risk of contamination to the entire engine is going to be high. When you install the thermostat, sometimes you need to kind of twist it into the hole just because it's kind of a tight fit. You cannot install the thermostat incorrectly because the bolt holes will not line up. I want to go ahead and push it all the way down until it seats. On this one, there is no room to use a nylock nut, so you have to always use a small M6 wave washer and just 2 regular M6 nuts. I'm just going to run these down with our quarter drive ratchet. Then I'm going to finish up with the torque wrench at 6 Newton meters again. So now we've finished working in this area back here. I'm going to go ahead and install my oil pressure sander. Depending on your application, this can either be just an oil pressure light, in which case it's just going to be a smaller switch. This particular one is going to be used with a gauge application, so we're going to install an actual pressure transducer. There's a small copper washer placed on it first, and then we're just going to go ahead and screw this in till it contacts, and I'm going to use a wrench, and we're just going to nip this down just enough to seal it. We don't want to over tighten it. The next thing I'm going to install is going to be our oil temperature switch. It's already been cleaned and tested. The switch just has an aluminum sealing washer. Just going to go ahead and unscrew that in and tighten that using a 19mm wrench. The oil line fitting for the camshaft oil feed pipes, we have one that's going to install right here. Same thing, it has an aluminum sealing washer. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this down. Then using a 17mm wrench, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that one. We have one last oil line fitting that is going to be over on this side of the engine.